back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
We're covering Beth up this week, but it's a good reason. This week we celebrated our dad. I guess I have to share it.
When
our dads,
my mom and her siblings, they all said my mom, my dad, even when they were talking to
each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, our dad turned 90 this week, and we had a little celebration. I'll put up a picture here of us at his 90th birthday picnic.
Yeah, we had a little picnic.
We had a little picnic for him. My brother came to town.
He's been staying here, and Dad has been really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's been good. So we're just putting up some photos in honor of him. The one all the way that direction is on their wedding day, my mom and dad. And then the center one was when he was in the service. And
that's when he was a real swoon.
Yeah. And then these two are his high school. It's a high school graduation and marching band uniform there. So, happy birthday, Daddy.
Yeah.
So we're here. It's by the time you see this, I will be long gone. So
yeah.
But I think Eve's gonna go first, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I guess you could say I've had 2 finishes this week.
Yeah. Last week was nothing's done, almost done, and
everything's almost done.
This week's much better.
So let me put this flat so that I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so
you were ready to go. Okay, you were going first.
I was ready to go. So I finished Robert's quilt.
Get your drink out, Lisa.
Oh, it's so great! It's all wrinkly and cozy.
It's all washed. He's had
binding and everything.
Yeah, the bindings on it.
Did you steal it back for the video?
Yeah, I stole it back from my son for the video. He's afraid to put it in his room. He says, I don't want the cat to barf on it. And I said, it won't hurt it. Just wash it. You know? But the pattern is frame pinwheels. It's a Missouri. Let me see if you can see some of the pattern.
You can pull it across.
Let's see. There, now you can see a frame. The pattern is frame pinwheels, and it's a Missouri Star pattern. And they have a really good tutorial on it. It is a layer cake quilt. This is done with 1 layer cake for the color, and now I can't fold it back.
Don't worry. It's all right. Here, Eve, give it to me. I'll put it on this chair over here.
Oh. It's heavy.
It's squishy.
It's done with 1 layer cake and 2 charm packs. The backgrounds are 2 charm packs.
And she was so stressed about the quilting, and actually, especially after she washed it and it wrinkled up, it looks beautiful. You can't even see it detracts from. I can't see it.
I don't mind it.
No, it's beautiful. It's a really, really nice.
So I have that finish.
Yay.
And then I also have this finish, Tiny Modernist,
the cow,
strawberry cow,
the pig cow,
from the Moo the Merrier, and let me keep this behind here. So there it is.
Sideways.
Oops.
Yay! How cute! Yeah. How are you gonna finish it? Do you know?
I'm gonna finish it. I think a lot like that.
Similar to
Not exactly like that,
hanger.
but
little hanger thing.
I think so.
I might have hanger thing like that.
She's got all the finishing stuff.
She bought like $100 worth of finishing.
I bought a bunch in the dollar spot at Target. Well, and because I meant to pay for it myself.
Oh.
And
yeah.
we had that was one of the debacles that we had.
My dad for Christmas got a gift card to Target. And he'd been wanting to go to Target, but every time we were going to go to Target, he wasn't feeling well, and blah blah blah. And he said
the other day, what was it?
Monday? Before his birthday, yeah.
Yeah, you texted me. We're going to Target with Dad. And I was like,
yeah. I asked him if he wanted to go to Target. That Beth and I were considering Target, and he you know, he kind of made a face, and I wasn't sure, you know, and then he decided to go. and he just bought 2 things. I didn't buy anything, and she bought the store.
And I want you to say that for stories because of that.
Yeah. Anyway, so finished my cow, and I had finished everything, and then I was just filling in white on the cow. And I got to this, there's a little gray spot right here on the cow. And it was half a stitch off.
oh no.
I had to take it all out and do it again. So, but I got done anyway. And I'm very close to a finish on this one, which is...
Oops, something fell off the red. Something fell down.
Which is Be Peaceful by Maria Bravko, Cute Patterns by Maria. And I am just in love with this one. I would be done with it, but I wanted to work.
Chose for that.
Both of these are fabric I dyed myself. This one's 14 count Ada. Some of that Ada you kindly donated.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. This is on 14 count. The other one is on...
Is that Ronald?
No, the other one's on even weave, 28 count, I think. Even weave that I dyed myself. So I was like, what was that? No, it wasn't. It's not 32 count.
I was saying it for a second when I was looking over there. I thought it was that spa color from the Murano Carré.
It's around the same color.
Yeah, because it's that same.
But you dyed that yourself?
Shade of blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then speaking of spa, I was working on this, which is invisible, I know, but we'll take a picture. I haven't gotten very far on this because...
Is that the doggy?
That dog.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is Life is Better Wolf, the berry on from America Michael? No.
Eric.
Erica Michaels. I'm not it called for ecru, and I don't have ecru, so I just picked a slightly whitish thing, you know. I'm like, this one looks good.
Oh, you mean thread?
Yeah. So I've been working on this one a little bit. I know I'm in a berry SAL, but I haven't finished this one yet. And then I'm going to work on the first summertime one, and then I'm going to work on the kitty one. I think that's how I'm going to do it. But I really like the way those berries look. They're out over here in a dough bowl, and be cute to have the different seasons and just be able to switch them out.
Do they have fall and winter and all that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They have all 4 seasons.
And what's nice about them is that you're able to pop them out quickly. You know.
They're not. They don't take horrendously long time, but I should start on the summer ones soon. Beth and I are planning a trip to the attic today. I don't have the correct fabric for all of them. I might look at the fabrics while I'm there. I like dyeing my own fabric, but I want to keep them all on 32 count, and I have a limited amount of 32 count, and I don't think any of those berries will look good on the Murano Carré that I have. However, one of them, I'm talking about them and I'm not even showing the I'm not even showing the berries. Oh, and I showed you these, yeah.
The summer?
Yeah, the summertime
you got the pins.
Yeah. Yeah, I got those a while back. It was the other pins. I put the pins, I got in the pins.
Remember the candy versus...
Yeah.
Versus...
I got in the spring pins, and I just went and popped them in to the berries. But this middle berry, I can do on this same fabric.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just pick another side of it. And if I decide to do the little pillow, I might not even do it on 32 count. I might do the pillow on, just Ada. Because I don't care if it's the same size. So I plan on working on these, but I kind of want to start with the flamingo because it's my favorite one.
What is this? Oh, it's a dog. It's like, what is under my foot?
So when I'm at the attic, I'm going to see if they have... I don't know that I want this...
Is it like pinkish?
It's an ecru kind of color. It's supposed to be on... parchment? No, parchment is the white one. Antique white. Mm-hmm. But I don't really like it. But I'm going to see if there's something else that I feel will go with the flamingo, because I love flamingos.
It'd be neat if you could find your signature color of that your tealish color.
Yeah.
That would look really cool.
So,
Your
because...
Miami teal, that's what I think of it.
Because I don't have enough berries, I picked up threads everywhere. I picked up Stitch All the Things by Erica Michaels. Helen D had this one stitched up. This was a release for the market this year. Aww. I really love the pillow. I haven't looked at the berry pattern, but I saw Helen D did it. And I was like, it's mainly just words.
I love that pillow.
Isn't that pillow adorable?
That's so cute.
But like I said, I might do the pillows on 14 count.
And I like the way it's finished with the little tape measure.
Mm-hmm. I have that I got at...
oh, you have a trim like that.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. I got it at...
I remember.
Rose Mill.
Yeah.
Rose Mill has so many finishing things, and they're really not expensive. So I have...
Is that online or is that a store?
It's online. Well, I think it's a store too, because they say something about that. And when I didn't want the pattern to be lonely. So I also got this Silver Creek Samplers. Seems like yesterday that you were small and left for me a memory of handprints on the wall. I think this was a market release too. I loved it when I saw it, and
you were inspired by the 26-year-old baby sampler.
This is actually for grown-up kids.
No, I know.
She tells the story back here what it was inspired by. She said, she says here, the inspiration for a sweet memory came while giving my son's old bedroom a fresh coat of paint. I discovered a small, smudgy handprint on the wall that was left there many years ago.
Aww.
Not having the heart to paint over it, I cut it out of the sheetrock and then patched the hole in the wall.
Neat.
So, just talking about it makes me cry. It just... Those of you who have grown children, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they grow up and they're not your little baby to play with anymore. And mine still leaves handprints on the wall. Don't. But I just tripped over a pair of his shoes this morning. That were not where they belong.
Seems like yesterday. Left handprints on the wall.
So, since I finished that quilt, she's biting on her toes. I have to check. I had been working on this, and all I had left to do was the sashing and sew it together.
Mm-hmm.
And so
what's that? The Itty Bitty Kitty?
Itty Bitty Kitty Committee, Missouri Star. So I cut all the sashing. I cut the inner border, so it's all ready to go. I checked the squares on of the sewn kitties, to make sure that they were all 5 inches, and I only had to trim 1 or 2. So this is
Ready to go.
getting ready to finish this top. And the reason I haven't even didn't just go, okay, now I'm just going to do it, is because I have to make sure when I lay out those kitties that I'm, because you put a kitty and then a plain square and a kitty and a plain square. And she has them where they're going like from cool to hot. So I want to lay them out however I want them, and then, decide how I want them to go. And then I'll do the sashing to get those together.
Right.
And then,
You have to lay it out first.
Yeah, and she has you do this sashing here with the cornerstones. She has you cut a long strip of the accent color. I decided yellow. I had another one and I said, no. And then a 5-inch thick, because they're going to be 5 inches. Hopefully I have these going the right way. My white has a slight pattern in it.
Oh, I see.
We'll see. It might end up that they're going every which way, and I tried. I tried, but I'm gonna. You sew the color to the top of this. Nope, they're gonna go the wrong way. You sew the color to the top of this, and then you cut it.
Oh, I see.
And then you just sew them together.
Oh.
So that you're not doing a whole bunch of tiny piecing.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of smart.
Actually, I have
that is actually quilt smart.
I'm
never gonna let it go.
Misty talks about a lot of little shortcuts like that. Like she's like, I'm gonna do this little 5-inch strips in between the things, but I have more fabric and maybe I'll cut it to where it'll go the right way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the other ones are going the wrong way too, so whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. At this point, I was really careful with the kitties that they were all going the, up and down like this.
Yeah.
I think I cut the other ones the wrong. I'm going to have to check. I don't know. So, this is ready for me to lay out and then sash together. And I really liked her sashing. It made it seem just marginally easier than cutting a whole bunch of little squares.
Well, and dealing with one big long strip that you have to align, that makes a lot more sense. Just attaching the sashing to the actual block, and then it just makes a bigger block and you sew them together. Yeah.
Well, you do have to align the long strip.
Yeah, but I see what, yeah. I thought you attached each little 5+ cornerstone to the kitty. And then, no, okay.
She has you make a long strip.
I see.
So it's kitty strip, long strip.
Oh, I see.
Kitty strip, long strip. And then I cut the materials for my snowball star quilt, which is my hummingbird quilt.
Ooh.
And the thing that took the longest about this was you have to divide the jelly roll into dark, medium dark,
what worked,
which one was which. And so I had to do a little bit of rearranging. And then I did use Alphabetties. I used Alphabetties on this. I think I showed them before with the quilt Not So Smart.
We're never gonna let it go.
I still have to make the other jacket, so yeah. But when I get mad at projects, it sometimes takes me a while to pick them back up again. So I clip this on here. So this tells me that this is definitely a light pack, you know, not a medium light, not a, you know, because the same size is cut in the medium light.
Yeah.
You know, and that way I don't get them confused. You know, which one of these was the medium light? So
good for you.
Because some of them are, you know,
and then once you decide something, I had a quilt like that, and I was like, what is that? What did I decide about this color?
Yeah, I was putting them in stacks, and I even had cut out a couple, and I went Alphabetties.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so this is ready to go. It's really friendly for chain piecing. You know, you have the center square, and you sew one side, and then you get it and sew the next side. You know, until you go around the square. So I think it'll sew up pretty fast. I've made the pattern before, and I kind of know where my downfalls are. So that's me.
So that's you. So this is me. I have an announcement. I am wearing my jacket. Ta-da! My fancy pockets that I talked about last week. And here's the bag. Ow! Sorry. Falling on the chair. I don't know if you can see. Can you see?
Yeah.
So I finished the jacket and sleeves. I think they came out good. I really like the solid sleeves.
I like the jacket overall.
Yeah.
I think it would have been okay with the hunter star pattern on the sleeves, but I think it looks good with the solid good. Because
sorry. So I decided to wear it, but I'm going to take it off now because I've been wearing it all morning.
And it's not
cold
here.
enough here. Actually, I feel toasty in it. But
it's not cold. Hot
so finished,
right now.
There's the lining. Finally finished object. So happy. I'm really proud of it. I'll put up my fancy pictures that I took, my close-ups. But yeah, and I really like the lining too. I think it's really cute. Mm-hmm. So that was. I told you it'd be finished. So when you see this, I will be wearing this in blustery Boston at this school. Oh, you know what? My jacket. Fancy jacket thrown on the floor. I'm wearing my alma mater shirt. NEC, that's where I'm going. So other than the jacket, I have been working on my dad's sweater. And this was his birthday. So of course it wasn't done in time, but this is the bottom. And yes, he's that tiny. This goes to his armpit. I measured it this morning. It looks tiny, but it's a small. So, and this will sit basically right at his waist. I may add a few more rows just because
just to give him a little leeway.
Yeah, well, and I ran out of the ball I was working, so I probably will start a new ball anyway, and maybe I'll do a couple more rows around to make it just a little bit longer. But I did start on.
No, kicking your dog. Your dog is like right under my feet.
I started on the
Stop
sleeve.
kicking my dog.
Anyway, I started on the sleeve, and it looks small, but my daddy is so small.
Yeah.
I mean, it fits my wrist, so it'll be fine. And these are double pointed needles, in case you're wondering. When you have a small circumference, this is really, in my opinion, the best way to go. And these are bamboo, because I have a set of double needles that match, double pointed needles that match these gingers, but I don't have this size. This is a size 10 because it's a bulky yarn. So, and the bulky yarn makes it go really fast. I've been doing the increases. This is the Sweater Workshop pattern. That's your own, just do your own pattern, whatever you want. And it's going really well. I love it. So that's this book here. And it's really neat because I don't think I talked about this before. I made a bunch of photocopies so I could take it on my trip, but you get this gauge page is what it's called. And what you do is you knit a swatch. Let's see, I think I have the swatch here. I think I showed it last time. Yeah, here it is. You knit a swatch, and instead of, like, I think I've talked about this, but in the normal sweater patterns, they tell you you have to find this gauge, which is X many stitches per inch and X many rows per inch. So you have to experiment with the needles that you're using and your own personal tension over and over again until you find the gauge, which is very, to me, because I can never afford anything. I'm like, I don't want to use up all that yarn. And they say, well, you can reuse the yarn and, you can take it out and use it if you need it, da-da-da. But it's just, so I have so often skipped over the gauge swatch. But with this method, you just knit it. So I have the yarn and you knit it. It does recommend using 2 or 3, especially if you don't know the yarn well. 2 or 3 different sizes of needle till you find a fabric that you like. So I knit this with the size 10, which is what's recommended on the ball, and I liked the fabric. It's nice and solid. It doesn't have it's not too holey, and it'll give a nice coverage for warmth. And so I went with it. So what you do is you knit the swatch, and whatever it is, and you get yourself a swatch gauge measurement, and so this one just has a little window here, and you put the stitches in there, and you count stitches per inch in this little window here. I mean, rows per inch in this window, and stitches per inch in this window. And then mostly it's concerned with this measurement, and you write whatever that is on your gauge page. So in this case, with this yarn and these needles, my stitches per inch is just 4. So then I decided how big I wanted the sweater. And I wanted the sweater to be basically a men's small, which I stole from another pattern, which is like 34-inch chest, 34 inches around. So then you just do the math here, and it tells you the percentage. So you start the ribbing down here, not at so you take the 4 stitches per inch and you multiply it by the inches you want around. So basically this, and that tells you how many stitches you need around. And so my total stitches is 136. But the ribbing is you cast on just a percentage. It tells you 10% 10% less. So you figure out what's 10% less of 136, and that's how many you cast on for the stitching. I mean, for the ribbing at the bottom. And then it tells you the same percentages for the sleeves. So this percentage is 20% of the body stitches, and then you build up to another percentage at the top of the arm. So it's all done in percentages, and so you can figure out however many stitches you need no matter what yarn you're using, which I think is so cool. So what you do is you build the body, and then you make 2 sleeves bottom up like this, and then you join the whole thing. You stitch across one sleeve all the way around the body and stitch across the other sleeve and back around. And then you're joined here. And then you start decreasing up to the neck. So it's going pretty fast. I'm going to take this sleeve to Boston with the hopes of starting another, which means I need to take some stitch holders, to put them on. But, so yeah, I'm hoping when I come home from Boston, I'll have 2 sleeves, maybe, or at least 1.5 or something. And then I can start putting it together maybe next week. So that's what I've been working on this week. And the other thing I have to show is this little doohickey. So I bought this. Okay, I'm going to put a picture here of my daughter's recital dress. She had trouble finding one that she liked in Boston, so I went long distance shopping with her, and I found this dress. It's really beautiful. It's dark green, and I put it, since I have a dress form with her measurements, I put it on at home, and it fit really well, except for it's a little gappy here, just because, you know. Anyway, so I have to take it in at the side seam right here, and I could hand stitch it, but I asked one of my friends who lives in Boston, do you have a sewing machine? Because she lives very close to where we're staying, and I thought I could maybe, you know, walk it or Uber it over and borrow it, but she doesn't. So I had thought about this, and I read reviews online, and it's wonderful or it's horrible, but I decided to try it. This is a little Singer handheld sewing machine, and it has 1 bobbin of thread, and it's kind of, I don't have anything to sew, but yeah, I probably made a mess. But anyway, it has a little wheel to raise and lower the needle, and it gives you a sample piece of fabric to sew, and because I couldn't understand how it can sew with only 1 bobbin, and what it does, it makes like a crochet chain. So one side looks like a normal sewing stitch, and the other side has loops on it. So and it tells you in the instructions, although I haven't...
Is it like when you buy a bag of bird seed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's like a crochet stitch, you know, and you can just unravel it, right, if you pull right. So that's what it says here. So it tells you actually, the fabric is still there to actually pull the thread out and cut it over here. And then you take it comes with a needle threader. It comes with all these little accessories. And one of those things is a needle threader. But you use that to actually tie a knot in the top of the stitching. And it says to do that, otherwise it'll unravel. And I was like, what? So I pulled on, because I had just cut it, and I pulled on it. I was like, oh. So then I actually had some understanding of how it works, which is very interesting to me. But so I'm going to try it tonight. I'm leaving tomorrow morning, but I'm going to try it tonight and see if I think it'll be worth it. Because I'm kind of scared. Because what I was thinking of doing, and I'm going to have to wind bobbins with like a dark green thread. Fortunately, I have the dress, so I can match it. But what I'm going to have to do is actually open at the waistband and open out the lining and the top and separate it here, and then adjust both the lining and the dress fabric, and then reclose it at the top and redo the top stitching here, and then redo the waistband here. So I think I can do it on Sunday morning, but depending on kind of if this thing is, I don't want to do that hand stitched because I don't think the stitches would be good enough, strong enough, you know. But I thought if this works, I may do this. Or my other option is that I may just say the heck with it and actually hand tack the excess down, which is probably what I'm going to do. Just hand tack it really, really well so that it looks decent, and then take it to a professional alterer and have it done professionally. or take it home and do it myself on my actual sewing machine. So I bought this thinking maybe it'll work. I wanted one of these anyway, and I thought, it's kind of cool to have in a pinch, or like it would be nice actually for my daughter to have it loaded with black thread when her her orchestra pants come down or something, to fix a hem or something like that. But anyway, that's my new toy. I don't know. Like I said,
well,
I may chicken out and just do it by hand because I kind of really don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
And I did not realize that this made that crochet chain stitch. I just kind of assumed it was a sewing stitch, because I'd never experienced this before. So I don't know that I want that in her dress, because to me that seems less stable than an interlocking stitch, regular.
If you pop a seam, there it all goes.
Yeah. So.
But it's good for, like you said, like in a pinch if you need a hem.
Yeah.
Something.
Or a little repair, like on these couple of blouses I bought. If you're not home or you're. So, that's me in a nutshell. Except for stories, but yeah, I feel accomplished with my jacket.
I was gonna say I was thinking about I had seen those little hand sewing machines, and I was thinking about getting one like for my only FFOing that I haven't done, because I thought, well, like, it might work like for a little pillow finish. But now that you talk about the way it sews, I don't know if it would be strong enough.
I have told her over and over I'd be happy to stitch it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just,
Well, here's another thought, Beth. It literally is this and your foot, like that. That's all.
She knows how to stitch.
I know, but it's like, it's like I said, it's not my...
Excuse me.
Not my strong suit exactly, so I'm always a little intimidated by it. Because actually, like, FFOing something, even if I'm just gluing it, it's like cooking with a recipe. I have to, like, think through what I'm doing and plan it, and I can't, I just feel like it's just really difficult. It's more difficult than stitching, obviously.
Oh, I have one other thing to talk about before I hand over the
the conch shell.
Yeah, this is the conch shell. This is an app that I have that is very handy. I've talked about using Knit Companion for my PDF knit patterns, but this is something called Bee Count, BEE, like a
honeybee.
Oops. And its icon is a little. I'll put up a screenshot of it, but its icon is a little tiny bee, and what it does is I have a whole bunch of projects on here, and let's see, like for that sampler I made, you can make your own stitch count list. So you could just title it, like when I was making that sampler, I had to keep track of how many rows of this or that, and so I just named it like garter stitch. And this keeps your phone from locking automatically. It just keeps it open, so you just have it on a table and just hit it to count. So you can have multiple counts, and you can actually set them to reset after a certain number. Like if it says, like currently on the sleeve I'm doing, because so I made one called Dad Sweater, and right now it only has two things. One is sleeve plain rows, and the other is sleeve increase rows. So I do 5 plain rows, and then I do an increase row, and I do 5 plain rows, because 5, it says to do an increase every inch, and I know that from my row gauge paper from my gauge page, that an inch equals 5 rows of stitching. And so I reset, so this one is set to 0 after I press 5. And then this one, I wrote in the description 8, because I only need 8 increase rows to get to my stitch count for the top of the sleeve. So I'm using this to keep track because I don't have a pattern. I'm using it to help me keep track of, and you can with a pattern too. If it says do 10 rows of blah blah blah, you can label it here, and you just create a new count and label it here, and it's you can keep all your projects in it. And I really love this. I don't know even how I found it, but it's called Bee Count, BEECOUNT. So for all you knitters out there who are looking for a good row counter, that to me is better than like a one on your finger or whatever, because those can get bumped in your knitting bag, and then it's only one count. Like I can have multiple counts going here at the same time. So so I think it's a handy tool, and I wanted to mention it. So other than that, I'm done.
Okay. I had a monumental finish. My as I said in my WIP-GO post, 25 years in the making.
Yeah.
Let me just finish
Well,
this.
over 25, because you started it before he was born.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's not quite...
He'll be
is he 24 right now?
He's 24 right now.
Yeah, this is the time of year when they're both the same age.
Mm.
Yeah, so he'll be 25.
For 9 months, our sons are the same age.
Yeah. So... Somebody had mentioned, like, oh, that'd be a good sampler to make for my granddaughter or something. I was like, yeah, this is out of print now. So I'm sure. Because it was printed in, I think the copyright is, 1994. So, and I bought it in 97.
Yeah,
97. So, yeah, I ambitiously thought, I have a few months before he's born, I can finish it. And I probably could have if I had worked.
Or if you did it now.
Yeah, but I mean, if I had worked on it nonstop,
but you were working and all that,
Well, in '97, I was working full time by then. Yeah, so I started it. I liked it, and actually I had done all the alphabet letters. I hadn't backstitched them all, but I had backstitched like the first two, and then I started to do the frame business.
Do you think
recently.
that like once he was born, you're like, I didn't make it? So you stopped?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was part of it. Well, and part of it also was the fact that I oriented the fabric wrong.
Oh,
yeah. Because then I thought, because I thought, I knew it would probably fit, but that was kind of discouraging. So yeah, it was supposed to be the other way, and but I finished it.
Congrats.
Yeah.
We showed it to Eli the other day.
Yeah, he said, he goes, I would still put it up.
I'll still put it up.
Yeah. So I backstitched his name and birth date and weight down here and did the frame and everything. So, but what was really surprisingly took forever was the backstitching on the alphabet, because it's very detailed, and like there's the T is for top. The top has different colors, and so you have to outline each color.
Oh my gosh.
And things like that. So
let me ask you guys a question as experienced cross stitchers.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's that kind of thing that makes me never ever ever want to finish something. If I know that it's like 3 tons of backstitching like that. Is there any advantage to finishing a letter and then doing the backstitch right then? Yeah.
A lot of people do backstitch as they go. So because you have to do it after you do the regular cross stitches. But if you're like, stitching an apple, and then you're done with the apple with the stitches and the regular stitches, but it has to be backstitched around or through or whatever, then once you finish that that icon, you're right.
I'm sorry. The wind is making my asthma crazy. So sorry.
But so once you're finished stitching that apple, then you could backstitch around it. As long as you don't have any other regular stitching
on those
next to it.
Seasonal things with the bugs.
Uh-huh.
I do the backstitching right away, because I have the bug up ready here with me, and it doesn't look like a bug until the backstitching is done.
Yeah.
And then nothing else is touching it.
Because a lot of the legs,
Yeah,
a lot of the legs and stuff, are backstitched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, see, like I could have done these individual letters, done backstitching on the individual letters, because they're separate. You know?
To me, it's the equivalent of weaving in your ends right away. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I've started doing that on my projects. It's like after I finish a couple sections, I'll go back and just weave in the ends, because I don't cut them, because once you block something, you want that little bit of extra tail in case it pulls or whatever.
Yeah.
But I weave them all in, because I'm like, people have sweaters in their baskets for years because they don't feel like doing the just weaving in the ends. It's crazy. So I like to do it as I go. So I was wondering.
Yeah, I did put my initials on the bottom on here.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, but so yeah, and sometimes it's there's kind of I think like now, especially like with more primitive styles or whatever, there's not as much backstitching.
Oh yeah.
But some of the stuff, especially like stuff from the 90s, there's a lot of backstitching.
Well, I'll tell you though, it looks really cool.
Yeah. It does. When I was doing that, I thought it really makes it pop.
Yeah.
And then like this unicorn.
Yeah.
And the zebra, you can see their little faces and stuff.
That's really. I think it looks really neat.
The one thing that got kind of covered up because I did it before I did the black backstitching is the little sticks on the xylophone. Because I wasn't even sure if when I did them if they were the right color.
Tons of backstitching.
Oh,
and until you put the backstitch on, it's not going to look like a little bee.
Yeah.
Her little antenna and everything is.
And her eyes.
Yeah,
Or even her toes, her feet, her shoes don't look like shoes until you put backstitch in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd rather do that than put a whole bunch more stitches and make it a lot bigger to make it look like it.
Yeah.
So this is done. My oldest WIP. Thank you, WIP-GO, because otherwise I would probably never have worked on it like that. But I had as the WIP-GO goal to finish it. I didn't have a specific number of days or whatever. So I worked on it almost exclusively. Last Saturday.
Was that for April though?
Yeah, yeah. Last Saturday I worked on the April Rabbit, and all the stitching that I did while we were on camera was the wrong thread on the rabbit because the rabbit.
I'm gonna have to cough for a long time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed to take a coughing break.
She needs her nebulizer.
Yeah, this wind
it's really bad today.
So I was starting to say that
everything you did on Rabbit was wrong.
Yeah. I had just put on here that I was just going to work till it was finished.
She came to me practically in tears.
Yeah, with this one, I thought, it'll just take me a little while. But I took a break last Saturday to work on Rabbit because I was,
because you wanted to do something else.
Yeah. and the rabbits, they're done in Gloriana silks, but it's done in like the rabbits that I was working on. They're just done in a dark brown. I think it's called cocoa bean. But the backstitching on this is done with a gray. I think it's $37.99 or something. The DMC beaver gray or something like that. And so somehow when I had I had a little wad of thread that I had pulled, when I was working on this, and it was on my bed, and I just picked it up, and I guess I stuck it in the rabbit little project bag or something. But anyway, so I was stitching away, and then we were doing it, and I was stitching, and I was thinking, gosh, you can really see the variegation on that.
Oh no. You mean during our video last week?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I even took the picture that I took last week had the
wrong thread.
Had the wrong thread.
I remember.
And I got all the way to the end of that thread, and it was kind of a long thread. Got all the way to the end of it, and I remember thinking when I was starting a new thread, I pulled out the new thread to start, and the new thread was that same wrong color too, because the thing about that cocoa bean thread was that they had put when they made the skein of thread, I guess it wasn't quite long enough for the 8 yards or whatever it is, and so they had knotted on a little section to make the whole length, right? So it wasn't a problem. So when I was putting it on the floss drops that I have for it, I undid the knot, and you could tell that they had knotted the thread before they dyed it, because when underneath the knot, you could see white, So I had just told myself, well, I could put the white end on the needle end, because that you always cut that off, And it was just a tiny, tiny little bit. So when I was going to start a new thread, I thought, I don't remember when I did this thread, I don't remember seeing that little white thing to make sure it was on the right end. And then I looked at it more closely, and and then I thought, this doesn't feel like silk. No. And then I realized, oh my God! And it was like, I don't know how many rows of that rabbit, like 5 rows or something of that little rabbit, like a good.
When you sent me the picture, I don't inspect them closely. I just put them in a video. But I remember thinking, that must be variegated thread.
It's much more variegated when it's the wrong color. So I spent, that night, I pulled out the whole thread.
Oh no.
And I redid it with the right thread, the right length that I had. So I did a length or 2 of that right color. And yeah. So it's, it's set aside because it took me a whole 19 days. Remember I said I have to start this at least by the 20th, to get my 10 days in.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't want to, I didn't want to interrupt myself or, have any reason to linger or anything. So I had yeah. So I started this on the 20th. So I in the middle of the night, because it was, we did running around for my dad's birthday and all that. So I did this.
And what is that
part? This is, this is Spooky Hollow, the second part of Spooky Hollow. So this is the first part that I finished.
Oh yeah.
Some time ago. And then, so my other WIP-GO goal was to start the second part. So I did, this was, I think I had 2 lengths of this, this is Lagoon, Classic Colorworks Lagoon. So this is 2 separate lengths, like 1 length here, 1 length here, but so this continues on this border. But then I decided I wanted today to do the lettering here. It says, "Spooks all gather for a jamboree, dancing with a fiendish glee." So this is all just lettering, black.
Don't you have a picture of the design?
I do, but I'm gonna put it insert it because I don't have it handy here with me. But
she'll send it.
So yeah. So theoretically, I'm gonna make drums out of these things. I have the pattern for the top. Also, there's a little circular pattern for the top of each one. But that's gonna have to be separate. But that's not part of my WIP-GO goal. It's just working on 10
I told her
days
she should have put on her WIP-GO goal only finishing.
Yeah.
Finish
FFO
this,
everything.
finish that,
Yeah.
finish this.
But
maybe 2023 will be her finishing year.
No, because
she has
next
so
month,
many really pretty.
I was gonna say, because next month
projects.
I'm gonna start as many projects as I can. I'm still trying to think about what I'm gonna do for Mania, because I have so many patterns that I keep buying, that I keep thinking, I really want to start that, but I've got all this WIP-GO stuff, but I really want to start that. But
you and I desperately need to buy fabric.
Yeah, that's what
I thought you were going to say you and I desperately need retail. I mean, some kind of therapy. And I was like, yeah. So kind of you need to talk to somebody.
We're going to the attic today.
I'm only going to buy thread.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I make no promise.
Maybe some fabric.
I went to the attic and did not buy anything.
That's right. Yeah, she took me to the attic the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, last week when I said, no, I'm not going there, I don't have any money.
But, so yeah, I still am trying to formulate my plan for May, because on the 27th, of course, they're going to announce the new numbers for May for the WIP-GO thing, and so I'm going to have that. But then also, I've done Mania the last couple years, and I've kind of devised whatever my own plan for whatever I worked on. But I didn't do any starts. I think all the times that I've done Mania, I've done some form of WIP Mania, kind of, working on WIPs. But I think this year I'm just gonna do a whole bunch of new starts. I haven't thought of some clever, way to decide what I'm gonna start or when I'm gonna,
You have a few
how many
days to figure it out.
Yeah. So I'm kind of working on that, but I do have to dye fabric, I think, for some of those because I have some dyed fabric, but I don't know if I have anything appropriate for the things that I all the mini patterns.
I want to start on Daisy May, but I bought all the different fabrics and stuff, but no, I want to do it on a particular color, and
Daisy May's the black rabbit.
The black rabbit.
And somebody was saying, "Oh, I didn't get it done in time for Easter," and I'm like, "That's not really an Easter pattern, but okay."
Anyway, but so I have to go through and decide what I'm going to start or what I want to start, and what fabrics I might need to dye for that. I have some linen and a lot of Lugana, Monaco Lugana, and and some. I have one piece of 46 count. I believe it's linen. That it's supposedly for. It's not the cloth that you buy for a punch needle, but it's something. But it says 46 count, and so I'm kind of like, what can I do on that? But I think I want to dye it too because I think it's white, also, and I have a policy now I've developed of no white fabric.
So,
and speaking of white fabric, so this thing. When I was stitching on it, I was going, I really need to wash that. It's really kind of grungy. After 25 years, it's not surprising. But so, yeah. So, and then I did hit 300 subscribers with my channel last week. So, last weekend I did, I have, like a giveaway extravaganza. So if you want in on that, check it out because I'm going actually to the end of the month because this weekend I'm going to be at your house. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to deal with doing all the giveaway this weekend. So I'm going to go over it and mention it again when I do my update. But I'm going to be doing my update at her house. So I'm giving all my viewers until the end of the month to enter that giveaway thing, and I already have several people that that want in on all this different things that I'm giving away. So I'm gonna have to actually make a list. So and so wanted this, so and so wanted that. So yeah. So you still have plenty of time if you watch my channel to get in on that.
And you can find it in our link tree,
yes,
which is in the description box below. Click on that. And it'll give our Etsy shop and Eve's channel and Beth's channel.
Yes. So I think that's everything. I
want to add something before we go to stories. I told this to Eve before the video, but I wanted to share. So after making this coat, I had this idea of getting. I've never besides never using Quilt Smart ever again. To get a jelly roll of like a Christmas fabric, a Christmas line, and making a jelly roll race, which is where you sew them end to end, and then you double them, and then you double them, and you sew it together. You cut it. you in half, you sew it together again, you cut it in half, so it becomes this long strip set, but the strips are all kind of unevenly divided in the fabric. So that's how I made my very first quilt. And so I thought I'm going to do a jelly roll race and then cut the fabrics lengthwise, cut the pieces lengthwise, so that the jacket pieces, so that the strips are unevenly ended, but up and down this way, and on the back, and make myself a Christmas coat. Mm-hmm. So that's my new plan.
When it'll actually be cool enough to wear.
It'll be cool
a light jacket like that.
So I thought that would look so cute, wouldn't it? A quilted Christmas coat like that.
Yeah.
So that's my idea. Don't steal it. Anyway, but I'm gonna do that someday. Probably at like December 20th. I'll be like, I'm gonna make this coat before Christmas. That's me. That's usually how I am. Okay, stories.
That's why that's 25 years.
I had, as we mentioned, Wednesday was my father's birthday. My brother was here. And we are struggling to get my dad to eat because he just has,
several reasons.
Yeah. And I said, well, if it's something he really likes, I was discussing it with my brother because we were discussing dinner. Uh-huh. I said, if it's something he really likes, he's more willing to try to eat it. And so he said, well, what does he like best? I said, I don't know, steak. I was just spitballing stuff, because it was his birthday. I mentioned steak. My brother says, yeah, let's do steak. We'll order it and have it here. Long debacle ordering it, but got it ordered. And he said, what else? He goes, what else does he like? I said, he'll always drink a strawberry shake. He'll go, oh, it's so cold. Why did you give me a shake? So, on the way back from picking up the steak order, we went through a Sonic drive-thru and got a strawberry shake. And the guy comes out to the car and hands it to me, and the lid wasn't on correctly.
Oh, no.
And I went to try to put it down, and I realized the lid wasn't on right, so I picked it back toward me to put the lid on, and...
Oh, no.
And shake... At Sonic, they're actually to the top.
Oh, yeah.
Half of that shake was on my shirt and my pants and my hands. And I'm like, I'm going to drive my car. The guy goes, I'll get you some napkins. And
what about a hose?
And Tim was trying to help me, with some, there were some other napkins in the car. And then he took the cherry. He goes, I'll eat the cherry.
My brother?
Yeah. So the guy comes back with the napkins, and he had actually already taken the card to charge for it. And he was just going to hand us the receipt and everything. And I went, can you get us a new one and put the lid on right, please? Because half the shake was gone.
Because their error. Yeah.
I know it was gone because it was on me. So I knew how much had fallen off. And he just kind of went, okay. Why is she asking for that? I'm like, those shakes are not cheap.
No.
We just got a small.
Well, my father cannot eat it off my shirt.
And so I had to really clean. And I got home, and because I'm driving like this, I got home and I'm like, I have to change clothes now.
Oh my God.
I was covered in strawberry shake. Fortunately, it was hot out, so it wasn't cold.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. It was hilarious, but it was not.
Did it get on your car or your car seat?
Oh, it got all over the seatbelt, And I'm sure my steering wheel is still sticky.
And that's one of the things, like, once sticky happens, it's so hard to get rid of it. Like, you keep like, oh, and that's sticky. Oh, and that too. Oh, and this got sticky too.
Yeah.
It's like the Cat in the Hat laundry load. Gets everywhere.
That's beach sand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was my big story of the week.
Look, I'm up to the elbow already. Gotta love bulky yarn.
Yeah. And Dad's birthday party at the lake.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun,
and
but it was windy.
It was windy, but we had to pause and be like, we're grateful it's windy because it could have just been stifling hot.
It could have, and it kept the flies away.
It kept the flies away.
And it kept the pigeons from bothering us.
Yeah.
Well, my dog kept the pigeons from bothering us.
But it was a nice cool breeze, and I got pictures of ducklings. I'll put them here. They were so cute.
Yeah.
They popped out from under the little ramada where we were, and yeah, it was nice. It was a nice day.
Yeah. Dad was exhausted because he had an appointment right afterward.
Yeah.
So
we wore him out that day.
Yeah. So we were kind of worried about getting him up to eat.
Yeah.
But he was really tired. So was I. So I was sitting at the park and I was like, I'm so tired.
So after everybody left the picnic, because Dad wanted to go home and rest, Eli and I tried to fish for a while because I've been learning to fly fish and I hadn't gotten my rod out since October. So I'm like, I really want to just try casting again. And Eli was wanting to try. So I have a little tiny 5-foot rod and then I have my 9-foot rod. And I got them all set up and we got some good casting done. And right where we were, there was a tree. And I didn't want to move into the sun as much. We both got sunburned, but I didn't want to really so we were kind of risking being there. And it was very windy, but mostly the wind was from our back going out toward the water. So this is a little municipal lake at a city park.
Stopped.
Yeah, stopped. And so I was casting and the wind was taking the fly, which was very nice. But at one point we were both casting right at the end. We were pretty much spent. We had, Eli had already lost one fly in that tree. And I had him move to where it wasn't going to be so behind him. And we switched places and it was going well. And then all of a sudden we both casted at the same time. And instead of my line going that way, I see it coming at me. So fly line is very lightweight, right? Because it's supposed to fly. And I see it coming at me in a wad. And I'm like, what's happening? Before I could understand that it was the wind that had just picked up the line and the fly and everything and taken it. And the same thing was happening to Eli, and I didn't notice. And our flies went into the tree behind us. So much so. So a fly line has the backers on the reel, and then you have the actual fly line, which is that brightly colored line. And then it goes to what's called a leader, which is a tapered line. So it's thick at this end and it gets thin at that end. And that's where you tie the fly. But then you add tippet line, which is like a less expensive and it's much thinner. And that's so you can lose a couple inches if you get snagged, whatever. And so it's one thing to cut off the tippet line. But that thing was so tangled up there that I had to pull the fly line down and cut the leader. So, and both rods. So now I have to replace leader lines for both rods. And it makes me mad. Anyway, so we caught a tree. It was a very successful fishing trip. And then, I think it was that night, at home, my dog is, we've talked about she's very, very old. And when you open the door to let her in, she stands there for a while. If you have food in your hand, she'll come in pretty well sometimes. If you don't have food in her hand, she stands there like, I am not walking up that step for nothing, lady. Come on. She's looking at me. She looks at the step. She looks at me. And I'm like, come in, honey. Come in. I just didn't happen to have anything for her. And while I had the door open, I saw that there was a spider web at the top of the door outside, and that there was a line coming down like this. So I was looking at that line going of web. It was because it was nighttime, and the light was on outside, and I could see it glistening. And I thought, "Oh, come in before the spiders get in." So right around the time she started to come in, I was looking at that spider web. So I went to shut the door. So since I was looking at that top of the doorway, I go to shut the door and I see what looks like a leaf stuck. So like here's the door, right? And here's the wall. Stuck in between that. You know how the gap opens when you open the door and then it closes. So I was shutting it like that, and in between those two things, I see what looks like a leaf, and it's moving. And I look at it, and it's a lizard stuck in that, because I guess when I had the door open, he came in up there, and his little hands, and he's looking at me, and I swear his little eyes were like, please don't shut the door, you're going to squish me, don't shut the door. His little hands are moving like this. And I was like, so I had the door kind of not shut, but like it was still squishing him. And I was like, Mark, come here, quick. So he comes. And so as Mark came over, I opened the door more to give the lizard room. And what, hindsight 2020, we should have like scared him that way so he would go out. But no, I opened the door and he went shook up the wall. Well, where he went was the wall right above Calvin's bookshelf. So we have a bookshelf by our back door, and we have a little cat tower nearby. And Calvin is king of the mountain up there. He goes up there, and he sits up there and he observes the world. And Hobbs better never get up there because he will beat his butt. Get off my bookshelf. And sometimes Hobbs will get up there when Calvin's not around. He's like, I'm up here. But if Calvin sees him, Anyway, so Calvin, so that he was up there, and I thought, oh man. And Mark's like, I can't get him. He's so too high. I don't know how to get him down. And so since we were all around, the cats came to see what's going on. So there goes Calvin up there. And by this time, the lizard had run this direction a little bit. So here's the bookshelf, and the lizard's over here. So Mark and I are debating, like, do we get the fly swatter, not to kill it, but to, kind of guide it down or scare it down or something. I had paper plates and bowls, and I'm like trying to, like, what do we do? We could catch him. And so Mark kind of got up there and scared the lizard. He was fast. They're so fast. And he ran back toward Calvin, because Calvin was like, what is that? What is that? But then when it ran at him, he's like, oh. He got scared. And so I think he finally went to hit him or something, and the lizard dropped. And we thought, okay, so we're looking all over the floor, and no lizard. And so you know how it is when something's up against the wall. There's like this much gap, but your head's too fat and you can't look. So anyway, nearby is another where the wall goes away like that. So I got there where my eye could be right along and we had flashlights and stuff. And I saw him. He was on the back of the bookcase instead of on the wall. So then I got the fly swatter, and we were trying to coax him down to the floor where we thought we had a chance of catching him. And then all of a sudden he disappeared at the bottom of the bookshelf. And so I thought maybe he was underneath, but I took the fly swatter and I was doing that underneath because it kind of goes up. Nothing. Mark said it looked like from where he was watching that he turned in and went in. And I don't know if in that bookshelf, if there's maybe an opening or a gap with the backing.
Like for electricity or something, like when you put a light or something.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But
maybe he's reading.
Yeah, maybe. So, but we didn't, I don't know why. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning anyway. But I didn't want to pull everything off that bottom shelf. And we're like, well, he's just in the fate of the cats now. Because we can't just at one point, one of the cats went running into the dining room. So we thought maybe he went that way, but we never saw him. So there may or may not be a lizard that may or may not be alive in my house. And you may or may not find a half-eaten, dead, squished lizard somewhere.
Well, I was going to say, maybe he's in the same place where that
thread is. That you lost last time. But he was big. He was probably that big, that long. Kind of, he wasn't one of the big
the tails. Without the tail or with the tail?
With the tail. He was like that long. Probably body was like this. But he wasn't like there's some out there that are fat, dinosaur-looking lizards out there. But he wasn't one of those. He was a flat little black-colored gecko. And the cats haven't gone crazy again. Actually, they were I was scared last night. I was knitting. And I see Calvin looking under the couch, and I thought, oh, there's the lizard. And he dives under the couch, and he's like half his body's under there, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna about to see carnage on the carpet. And he pulls out, and he's got a little pink ball in his mouth. It's so cute. But anyway, so I have a new pet lizard. Well, maybe he'll eat the bugs or the spiders or whatever else gets in my house too. So that'll be good. I don't mind a pet lizard.
I bought my cats for their birthday last week. I bought them these giant carrots when we were at Target.
Is that what those carrots were for?
they're kicker carrots. They're like, you know, crunchy sounding. They have like plastic or something inside them, and
I wonder
and
why
catnip.
you bought big carrots.
You're like, is that for another finishing?
They're like this big.
They're like a foot long or something.
Is she doing a Easter pattern? She has so many bunny patterns. I guess maybe.
But
she's finally gonna finish something.
Yeah, no, I knew she wouldn't finish it, but she buys the stuff.
And they have, like, you know, feathers and stuff like that on them. So the cats really love them. And I had to buy two
of finishing stuff.
but I bought 2 carrots, one for each of them to have for their Christmas present, or their birthday presents. And but the other day, well, you know, I was doing a big, you know, cleanup because I'm getting ready to, because I'm going to take care of her pets, and Eve has to feed my cats while I'm gone. I'm going to feed them well before I leave because I know she won't feed them. But anyway, so...
they have a dry food feeder, but she feeds them wet food also.
Well, their dry food, I just feed them... I haven't used their perpetual feeder since the last time I was out of town. I was away from home. But anyway, so... but I had just fed them the other day, and they have like little bowls that lift, you know, that are lifted off the floor, so they don't, you know, hunch over and eat or whatever. So, you know, they each have their little bowl that they eat out of. So I had just put dry crunchies in their bowls, and I don't know what Snug was doing, because he usually, you know, just, you know, he eats like a dog. He just, you know, eats it all up. So he was there eating, and I don't know what he did, but I hear bang, and I look over there, and there's a whole bowl of cat food all over the floor, that dry kibble all over the floor. And I thought, well, okay, well, that's a pain in the butt, but, you know, he'll eventually eat it all up, right? No, he goes over and eats out of Puck's bowl and leaves this big old mess of food, you know, kibbles all over the floor that I know I'm going to step on if I have to go to the bathroom or something.
Well,
so I
could pick them up.
No, but I mean, just, you know, whatever I do, I'm going to step on them because there's little kibbles all over the place on my, you know. But I kind of like with my foot just kind of pushed him out of the way. So I thought, you know, surely he'll eat them all. No, he didn't eat them. I ended up having to, you know, I have to sweep them up and scoop them up. But there's this big pile of kibbles. And I'm like, why would he do that?
Well, if you stepped on those, it would not be as bad as what I stepped on the other day.
I got
home, I was walking through my nice bedroom, and you're like, well, it could be one of two things. On my heel.
I stepped on something like that.
Yeah.
And it was the better option of the two.
You remember when Eli noticed that the dog had gotten sick on the couch?
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, she came with her son over, and he was sitting on the couch, and he goes, "Did Brogue throw up on the couch?" And I went, I didn't hear her throw up, but I went over there, and you know how if dogs eat really fast, sometimes they barf up like wet kibble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some of that on the couch, and I went, gross. And I cleaned it up, you know, right away. And then later that day, I got up from where I normally sit there and was heading toward the kitchen, and I stepped on some more.
Oh.
It's like, but she had just started taking some antibiotics, and she's very, very hungry all the time. Now she has carrots, so I give her carrots several times during the day. But I don't like to feed her when she first starts asking, because then she wants me to feed her again.
Yeah.
At the normal time that I used to feed her, right? And so I kind of made her wait, and maybe she was just so hungry she went, and then that with the combination of the antibiotics, I don't know, made her upchuck a couple of pieces. But she used to be the kind of dog that would eat a little bit, and then the next day she might finish it, more like what a cat's supposed to be.
That's the trouble I have with my two
right
cats
now.
is that Puck is a nibbler. He's always been a nibbler. So he'll eat a little bit, and then he'll go and do whatever, and then a little while later come back and eat a little bit. And Snug eats like a dog. He eats everything. And so if Puck doesn't eat it, Snug goes over there and I'm like, eat out of your own. And sometimes he'll do it like, I don't know if it's a dominance thing, because I'll feed them both at the same time. And so Puck will eat a little bit and then walk away. And Snug will go over there and start eating out of Puck's bowl, even though his bowl is still full.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's exactly the same. But no, it's better out of the other bowl.
We have a problem with Calvin and Hobbs, and Calvin is the one who pigs everything, and he is so skinny. He's like a live little, the lean mean jumping machine, as I call him. And he's so skinny, but he eats everything. And Hobbs is a little fatso, and he seems to nibble. He doesn't seem to eat little things down like that, But Calvin will eat out of his bowl, and then he'll eat out of Hobbs' bowl. And wherever I put the kibble first, Calvin will eat, Like if I put it in Hobbs' bowl first, Hobbs kind of sits back, and Calvin goes, arr, arr, arr. So I think it is a dominance thing of I'm going to eat wherever I want.
So did you figure out what you were stepping on?
Yeah, like I said, it was the lesser of two evils. Because I'm like, it's either cat or dog. If it's cat, it's barf. If it's dog, it's not good. But no, it wasn't.
Yeah, I had,
I mean, it was still on my heel. Gross.
Yeah, that walk.
That walk.
Yeah. I don't want to touch my foot to the ground.
I thought that my heel was... Okay, this is gross. Just trigger warning. I thought that my heel was just wet, Mm-hmm. No. There was a big wad of it.
That's what I always have to...
And this is gross, but I had to smell it because I'm like, what am I dealing with here?
Sometimes I'll be, out doing whatever, eating dinner, going to the bathroom, whatever, and I'll walk into my room and there's I don't realize it till I put my foot in.
Why is that?
Because
why can you only find it with your feet? You cannot see it. You can't see it, even though it's a different color than the carpet. You cannot see it.
What's pretty good about Puck lately is that he'll be lying on my bed and all of a sudden he's like, and so I jump up and get him. I try to get him on the floor. Because when we moved into this house, we had to redo the flooring in my room because the guy who had lived here before had a home gym or whatever, so he had put those, sticky rubber tile, yeah. And so when we were going to choose a floor, I said I wanted a hardwood floor, kind of thing for my room because I don't want carpeting, because I knew I have cats and And so, so I chose that, kind of hard vinyl flooring to because of that very, need something that's going to stand up to being wet or whatever, But so I usually get Puck down on the floor before he throws up. And or if he's on the cat tower, get off of there because I don't want him, throwing up on my chair or whatever. So, but he so I try to hold him there because so I can clean up wherever he's going to throw up or whatever. But he doesn't like it very much, So a couple times he's run under the bed, and I'm like, I can't get under there to clean it.
Yeah.
And so but he's pretty good about jumping down now onto the floor and not throwing up on my bed, which nothing used to make me crazy, especially when I was in Little Rock. because I'd be in the other room doing whatever, and I'd go, finally I'd stay up late, and I'd finally go to bed, and there I'm about to get in my bed, and there's a cat mess, and I'm like, so there I am at 2:00 in the morning, changing the sheets in my bed, and
Robert will be laying on the couch, and all of a sudden he'll sit straight up, and he'll go, "Don't you do it!" He goes running into his room.
Yeah.
and quite frequently, he'll go in to go to bed, and then he'll come right back out carrying his comforter. He'll say, "I am so over cats."
Yeah.
Like, it's not his fault. It's warm here. He loses all his hair.
Yeah.
I finished the increases, and now I just knit length.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking about gross stuff. But
Sorry.
So sorry.
Pet ownership. So, when next you see me, I will be back from Boston, and I am so excited to go. I'm going to take my... So, yeah, I'm going to have to take... So, I'm like, so I've been in this bag. I just grabbed this bag. I got this bag. This is NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month bag that I got some time ago. And it's so floppy. And I just threw the yarn in there because I was like on my way to work, I don't know where, or to orchestra when I cast on this sweater. And so I'm like, this is a bag. I'll just get a bag. But it's so floppy. Oh, and the other thing that happened to me is, so because I have 10,000 WIPs, I have run out of cables. I'm always running out of cables. And I had to steal this cable and these needles, this cable off of another project that was using, and it was using size 10 needles. But they were the 4-inch ones that come with a regular size. And these are 16-inch needle size. They're like for hats. But I had to use these because my sweater, because it's size small, especially with the ribbing, wasn't quite enough. And it was very tight around the circumference. So I switched to the little hat size needles, and that made the difference enough for the ribbing to fit. But that was a size 8. And so I had the little tiny size 8 needles in that bag. And then when I finished the ribbing, I switched to the size 10 needles. And I went ahead and used the hat size ones also. So because that bag is so floppy, I just will put it in my lap and just knit with the yarn still in the bag. And I'm just sitting there, and I had just thrown those extra needles in that bag. So, and they're part of a set, okay? And they're expensive. So then at one point, I'm getting up from my chair, and I see in the seat one little size 8 needle, like one of these. And I'm like, oh, that fell out of the bag. So then I go searching through the bag, and I take everything out of the bag, and there's no partner. So I think that it fell into my recliner, but I have looked and looked and looked and looked. I've looked under. And so then I thought the other possibility is it fell and somebody found it and carried it off. Because, the other day, I have a hammer dulcimer in my house, and the 2 little hammers, I put them on my desk, and one day I see Hobbs jumping down from the desk with my hammer in his mouth, running off. I'm like, stop! So anyway, so I'm like, maybe some cat stole it. I don't know, but I now have only one size 8. So when I get to the neck to do and I don't have, I guess I could do it on these, but you need a 16-inch, not double points. Anyway, I'm so mad. So I don't know if I can order them, just this 16-inch size, this little size, or not. I don't know. Or I know that you can buy other Knitter's Pride's needles, not the gingers. I know I can buy wooden ones, but I'm just so mad. But anyway, I have to get a different bag than this. I cannot take this floppy mess with me on the airplane. And I'm like, maybe it's actually in there. This thing is so floppy. Who knows? But anyway, I have to find myself a nice structured bag. I know I have them. I just have to switch my projects around.
Well, it's like, I have
can't handle that. It's
I have
too messy.
a project bag, one of those little zipper bags that I've gotten at the attic, like this, but larger. And I had this project when I was getting ready to start it. I had it folded up, the cloth not in a hoop. But I had the fabric folded up in there, and I had the pattern, and I had this little bag. And so I had it all in there together, ready to start, because I knew on the 20th I had to start this project. And so on the 20th, on Wednesday, I had got it out, and I was, I've been working on it since then. So today, when last night, I guess, when I was going to put it away, I was like, well, where's the bag? Because I have, I have a bag that has all I got all ambitious and was cleaning up and put all my new project bags that I'd gotten for this and that and the other. I put all in this other bag, and there was one empty one in there, but I thought, well, was that the one I used for this? Because I couldn't find it. I'm like looking under here, looking under there, and I was like, I didn't put it here, I didn't put it there. It wasn't not in my.
My project bag is a mess right now, and I need something that'll go on the airplane. And I have a Vera Bradley. I know it's quite out of fashion now, but I have a Vera Bradley bag that has a nice magnet, and it's got several pockets. Because I realized I need to take these needles, which are size 8 double points and a size 10 double points. I need to take a possible 16-inch and a stitch holder to hold this when I'm done with this sleeve, so I can start the new one. And I need to take an extra ball of yarn and. So I'm like, I have to plan this because I don't want to be there with time to knit and not have the right tools.
Yeah.
That sucks. Oh, I was going to say this. Eve. Maybe you could help me because you like to sew. So in this book, this knitting book, I like to sew too. In this knitting book, she gives, where is it? A thing of like, get all your tools and get ready. And she gives a little sewing kit pattern. Where is it? I should have looked it up before. Anyway, it's like a kit. Let's see. Ouch. Equip yourself. Needle case, 82. Equip yourself. Watch out for yourself.
My scissors just
bit
snapped to the magnet on the needle minder.
But it shows you. I'll put a close up of this picture. It shows you a little needle case and gives you the instructions for making it here, and so you can put all your tools in it. It's got like several pockets, and it
like
folds.
Roll.
Yeah, it's like a little roll up.
Can you make it with a fat quarter?
Cut 6 pieces, one 19 by 18 and a half, one for the outer, for the inner, same size, 2 19 by 8 and a half inner fabric for pockets, and 2 1.5 by 15 pieces of outer fabric for ties. So 19 by 18 and a half, that's a fat quarter, isn't it? Isn't a fat quarter 18 by 24?
Yes, you would need more than one though.
No, yeah. But so 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do 4 fat quarters and then ties. So, but that's kind of cool.
Guess what?
I can make it.
Guess what?
What?
I'm starting on the last thread before the back stitching.
Yay!
I will have another finish this week.
Cool.
I was gonna say,
Anyway, so this is kind of cool. And I thought, I wish I had that for this trip right now. I also have to take tape measures and all that.
That's what I was going to say. I had to make myself a list, because, fortunately, like, if I realized I'd forgotten something, I could,
You're 10 minutes away instead of across the country? Like I'm going to have to find a yarn store in Boston.
But I had to make myself a list, because...
Yeah, I know.
because I thought... Well, I have to take this, and I have to take my update stuff and.
I am so sorry. We are going to have to stop.
Yeah,
It's 10:45.
Yeah, we have to I take my dad to an appointment this morning, and it's a busy day, getting ready to go out of town.
I'm sorry, Ben.
That's all right.
It's okay.
No, I was just, saying that
I know. Last night I'm laying in bed going, I should make lists for everything.
I know. That's what I had to do. I had to think through because I thought, it's easy.
But we did make a list of things we're going to do while we're in Boston. We're going to take Eli to the Constitution.
Oh,
because that's one thing he's never seen. Because we were trying to think, like, the stuff he saw.
Her sides are made of iron.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry if you're from there.
Yeah, this one guy, it was so funny. But we went to a few sightseeing things when we took her to school her freshman year. And then we did a couple of things when we moved her this last time when Eli went out. So this time we're going to have like an intense weekend, and then we have Monday, Tuesday to sightsee, and she's got a lot of school stuff to do while we're there during the day. So we were like planning. I think we're gonna do Isabella Stewart Gardner. We're gonna do the Constitution, and just we're trying to. I'm like, we need a plan so that we don't sit around half the day.
Art museum that I went to is fantastic.
The Museum of Fine Arts, yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So we're trying to think of like things.
Because it's inside. If it's unpleasant out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're looking, and I was like, there's this close to under at the bottom of the Old North Church. There's a really cool couple of shops there.
Do they still have Faneuil Hall?
Oh yeah. And I told Mark he didn't get to explore Faneuil Hall a lot. And the last time we were there, we were all dead because we were moving her, and that's all we did,
Yeah.
So this time it'll be really nice, and we're staying close to the school, and
so that'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be really good. So
right, I haven't been to Boston since you were in school. There.
I love that town so much. I love that place.
With this picture.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And happy birthday, Daddy. And we will see you all next week. Eve. Say bye. Bye. Bye.